Hello everybody, and welcome to CBT with Yuuka Kazami. This is yet another Sigyaad game, and it's actually the very first one that I ever played by the guy. So, uh, without further ado, let's get started, shall we? Which game do I want to play? We'll do CBT with Yuuka Kazami. You walk along your way to the forest in search of a field of sunflowers. After some time, you come across the sunflower garden. You meet the person you're looking for. Hey, that's as far as you go. I really don't want you stepping on these sunflowers. You'll hurt the poor, tortured souls that live inside them. Haha, just kidding. Mostly. I'm Yuuka Kazami. You must be here for the CBT sessions? I mostly just keep to myself and enjoy the company of flowers all year round. But I figured it couldn't hurt to learn more about humans and how their minds worked. So I picked up a psychology book, and that the half yokai shop owner had lying around in his store. It was there I learned about cognitive behavioral therapy. It seemed pretty useful, and I couldn't help but want to share it with a few humans. And here we are. So glad you can make it. Really glad you can make it. Real glad. Anyway, it's nice of you to join me. The human mind, it's deep and complex. It's amazing. But at the same time, it's quite irrational, downright absurd at some points. Our brain is ultimately trying to protect itself, but sometimes it overreacts to things that aren't really viable threats to our safety and well-being. These irrational thoughts can cause a slew of problems to our mental health. That's where cognitive behavioral therapy comes in. Essentially, cognitive behavioral therapy is using logic-based strategies to help alleviate symptoms of poor mental health. Our problems come from irrationality, so it's only natural that grounding ourselves in logic and reason can help us live better. We can't change how we feel, but we can certainly change how we react. And by changing how we react, we can eventually change how we feel. It becomes a full circle, just like nature itself. Kind of beautiful when you think about it that way. With cognitive behavioral therapy, you can take some steps to finally reclaim your true self. With that said, this is difficult from simply giving you advice, or different from simply giving you advice. These are actual activities you have to try multiple times to see results. But you wouldn't have come all this way to not put at least some effort in, right? It wouldn't be very nice to waste your time here. Or my time. Wouldn't be nice. At all. With that said, let's begin the first lesson. This one is about negative or inaccurate thinking. In life, sometimes things do not go our way. Naturally, this is perfectly normal and bound to happen eventually. However, sometimes we think of the worst possible things as a result of when the unexpected occurs. As a result, we may develop certain lines of thinking that are not in line with reality. To combat this, we simply need to challenge these overblown thoughts of reality. For example, let's say you said hi to a friend across the hall or street, and player's note here. I've actually done these things, and these tricks that we're about to learn are in fact very helpful. But oh no, they seemingly completely ignored you. Now tell me, what is the reason for this? What usually comes to your mind when you see something like this happens? And by the way, I'll be answering these honestly for me, but you know, the answer may be different depending on you. So it's common to think that at first glance. Well, as you have just demonstrated, it must be easy to jump to a conclusion and think it must be our fault when something like this happens. However, this is mostly an emotional side talking to us this way. We have not yet challenged it with logic. Now, I will demonstrate some more logical grounds as to why your friend might have ignored you. They could have been busy with something that took up all their attention. They thought it was a stranger calling someone else. But it could have been dealing with something serious and your voice was drowned out. Because somebody did not hear you. See? Isn't that better? Don't you find it much more likely that they just didn't hear you than them hating you or over something that you're not even sure would have made them upset? Next time you think of such negative thoughts, try to counter it with logic. Instead of thinking they walked past me because they hate me, try thinking something much more logical, such as, yeah, we're probably busy with something and that somebody didn't hear me. Of course, it doesn't apply to just friends, it can apply to anything. For instance, I myself don't particularly have any close friends, but I still worry about some things. When I go flower gazing, a thought will pop in my head. I think, oh no, what if someone interrupts my gazing and ruins the flowers I enjoy so much? But then I go, don't worry, the moment someone just creases these flowers, I'll slowly turn them inside out with my pinky finger and make his family watch. And I feel just so much better afterwards. Yeesh. No, but a silly thing doesn't really relate to you. Here's one. Let's say you don't want to go to the doctor, but you're scared of needles and don't want to get seriously injured. Once again, just challenge with logic. Counter it with something like, she's a trained professional, who has done this countless times. The chances of anything going seriously wrong are extremely low. Now, I hope you get the general idea. Overall, if you get any negative thoughts that are causing you unease, be sure to try to challenge them with logic-based thoughts. I wouldn't simply try to have grand arguments with yourself in your head, just simply address the thoughts. Remember, you don't have to entirely believe what you counter it with. The important thing is you just respond in an appropriate manner. Well, that concludes our first lesson. Now, on to the next lesson. This one is about thought journals. This was actually one I used for about a few months, actually. Oh, sorry, oops. Thought journals are the use of writing down your negative feelings and identifying patterns of harmful and often logical thinking, then challenging those lines of thinking with helpful, balanced, and logical thoughts. First, you write out what exactly is causing you distress and why. Be as specific as you can. Write down what you're feeling, and you can even note the intensity of how you feel. Then, when you have it written out, identify the portions of irrational thinking present and what you have written. Finally, if you have identified the irrational portions, change them with more healthy, balanced thoughts that are based on logic. This is not only because you're challenging your beliefs again, but also because you're writing down your thoughts allows you to give them a whole new perspective that can help you cope better. Now, the tricky part is identifying what exactly you wrote down that's irrational. I think it's just better if I give an example of what a proper thought journal entry looks like. Take a look at this. So I'm actually going to sit here for just a second to, oops, that's not what I wanted. I forgot how to do it. Anyways, yeah, I'm going to let you guys, actually see this for just a second. Feel free to, make sure to read it, or what I did when I did this is I simply wrote down in a book, like a small notebook, but I actually copied, a lot of the things like what's bothering me, how this makes me feel, how bad it hurts, yada yada, and it made like a template page. So I'd recommend doing something like that if you're watching this to try to get some help. I tailor-made it for common situations, human's face. Of that, you should have an understanding of what a thought journal is and how to use it. It involves more effort, but it can be helpful, which is generally what you have to put in when it comes to more extensive therapy. On to the final lesson. This one is called Belief Experimentation. This is a step further from what you've learned so far. This is one of the most powerful CBT strategies you can learn. As the name implies, a belief experiment is when you act out on something that you think may cause you distress, and then noting what actually happened when you acted it out. I don't know why I just did that twice there. If your negative feelings are not based on reality, acting them out and noting what happened is one of the best ways you can use troubles. This is because more often than not, what actually transpired does not match what we thought would happen in our minds. Now, to get started, first by writing down the experiment, you're going to do that based on your troubles. Then write down what you think is going to happen next from the experiment, whatever that may be. Then you write down what actually ended up happening and what you've learned from it. Was it as bad as you thought it was? Was it a positive or negative outcome? Would you be doing this again in the future? Did it ease your troubles? Just like the thought journal, reflection is key. I know, I'll perform a belief experiment myself. I already finished some of it anyway. Here goes. Experiment. I shall give CBT lessons to a human. Prediction. The human will end up wasting my time because I believe humans to be weak and disappointing. Outcome. Well, Now I guess, well, I guess now is as good a time as any to show you my new spell card. Now then, where were we? Yeah, uh, you could just pulls a gun out on you. Best game, 10 out of 10. Alright, we're just seeing if you're really wasting my time or not. Give me a second, battery decided to, do it again, so... Yes, I get to do this mid-video for once, that's new. Sorry about that. I'm still learning how to edit, that may or may not still be the video. Let me question some of the things we learned today. If you get it right, that means you have indeed been listening, and therefore not been wasting my time, thus proving that humans aren't so bad after all. Get it wrong and well, you'll just be confirming what I knew. But that's okay, it doesn't affect me in the slightest. On to the first question, let's start with something basic. What does CBT stand for? Also, again, I love the, the, alternate question, or the alternate answers. Good, now for the next question. What is a cognitive thought journal? Sorry, again, my eyes like freaked out for like a second. They do, but sometimes they're like, I'll see like two of the same thing. It's kind of annoying. Very nice. On to the last question. What is a belief experiment? This one is still amusing to me. Come now, I was never going to hurt you. I just like to have fun and toy around with humans. They're so unique. Sometimes I mess around with them, other times they turn the fertilizer for the sunflowers. Mostly kidding with that one. Anyway, shall we take the thought experiment from the top now, shall we? Experiment. I shall give CBT lessons to a human. Prediction. The human will end up wasting my time because I believe humans to be weak and disappointing. Outcome. Prediction did not come true. The human listened to me attentively, answered every question correctly, exceeded my expectations, and thoroughly entertained me. Reflection. Humans can be a wonderful source of entertainment. I shall hang out with them more. Particularly this human right here. Oh, I guess this goes without saying, but when you feel scared or frightened, always remember the happy times in your life. Good memories can save your life, as I say. Always remember happy day. Well, that concludes the lessons. Try out whichever method works best for you, whenever you need to use it. Make use of what I taught you today. I mean it. That said, I had a really good time today. Thank you. You're free to come back anytime if you want a refresher. I do hope to see you soon. I better see you soon. Well, take care now. Well, and that was Yuuka Kazami, CBT, pretty much. Running CBT with Yuuka Kazami. I'll do the DLC if again this video gets enough likes. We'll call it 10 or so likes, And yeah, I hope to see you guys again real soon. See ya.